Remember what I said an entrepreneur was. An entrepreneur is a person who
Mhm.
orchestrates the time, talent, and resources of other people to make their vision real. What that
That's right.
says by definition is I'm not an expert in anything. I'm not an expert in social media. I'm not an expert in how you do things on the net. I'm an expert at a vision. Okay. I can see clearly what needs to happen. I know the methodologies by which we can make it happen. I know that other people have what I want. And I know that other people will give me what I want if I give them what they want. And if I know how to structure a business, I know how to structure it to give other people what they're going to want. So all I need to do is identify what do I need in my business, who has it, and how do I give them what they want if they give it to me. And I don't have to be an expert in all those things. Now, do I have to know that there is this thing called social media? Sure. Do I have to have a general idea of how it works? Yeah, but I don't need to be an expert. Okay. I just need to know what it can do and how it can basically work. And then I leave it to the other people when I create an advantage for them to take their knowledge and make it work in what I do. That's where they make their money. And I make mine by giving them that opportunity.
Hmm.
So you don't have to be an expert in everything. But what you do have to
That's
have an
right.
understanding of is how do you orchestrate? How do you take your vision and orchestrate the time, talent, resources of other people to make the vision real? If you get your arms around that, then you don't need to know the details of all the rest. Somebody's going to have to, and you got to bring them in. You got to make it attractive to them. It's like, Uber, if they're going to run a cab business, they need somebody with a cab. They need somebody with a car. They need somebody with a phone. Okay. They can't do it without that. But they don't have to have those things. They don't have to be the expert on how you maintain your car in order to keep it running as this, in effect, taxi cab. They just need to get the people to the places where their facilitation makes it all possible for the other people to take their expertise and apply it to the solution. So it's just a difference in the way of thinking. Let me give you one more difference in today's 21st century thinking. I have to say categorically the leaders in a business model called strategic aggregation. And what strategic aggregation is a method of ultimate leverage of business to business relationships. Let me give you an example. Let's say I own a real estate brokerage firm. Okay. And the thing that's true about me is I make my money through one revenue source. And that is a piece of property that I own, or a piece of property that my client owns is sold and I get a commission. Or somebody comes in my door looking for a piece of property and I bring them to a piece of property for sale and they buy it, then I make a commission. But I got one revenue source. It's called a commission on the sale of real estate. And I spend all my money marketing to get people to come in my door because they're interested in buying or listing real estate for sale, right? Okay. And then when they do their thing, they walk out the door and all the money I spent to do that maybe brought me some income, but now I'm done. So all the money I spent, I only got the benefit from it once. Now, somebody might say, well, if you maintain the relationship, they'll come back in 5 or 10 years when they do their next real estate transaction. Well, maybe they will and maybe they won't. Today's memories of people are very short and they don't remember what they did business with 5 to 10 years ago. So the chances are they're gone from my life. That's 20th century business model. Now let's look at 21st century business model called strategic aggregation. If I'm in the real estate business as a real estate broker, there are other people in businesses that make their money from the same client I just have and at the same approximate time that I make the money. Okay. And they have a common clientele to mine that they serve at about the same time as I'm serving my client. So who would that be? Well, what about a moving company? Person's buying or selling a home, they got to move, right? What about a renovation company? I want to sell a house. I want to fix it up before I sell it so I can get more money. Or I just bought the house and I want to fix it up because it isn't kind of like what I really had in mind when I bought it. I want to make it more mine, right? So whether it's painters, electrician, remodelers, whether it's an escrow company who's going to handle the escrow on the transaction, whether it's a lender, right? A mortgage company that's going to want to loan money. I mean, there's all these people that are servicing these people who are buying and selling homes. Well, if I'm smart in today's world, I strategically aggregate with these folks. Okay. And here's what we do. Okay. We set up a common methodology, a common marketing theme, and we're appealing to a common client. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a cross-marketing facility. That's what we do is we set that facility up where if I'm the guy who's the moving guy and I get a call from somebody who says, I'm thinking of moving to Chicago and I'm in Los Angeles, right? Well, good. When are you planning to do this? Well, I think I'm going to do this somewhere around this coming March or this coming April. Okay. And you say, well, great. Are you selling the place? Because that's not the question they would normally ask, right? Well, yeah. Do you have a broker? Okay. Are you Have you found a place to buy? No. Have you found a broker? No. Well, I'll take care of that for you. I'll make sure you have connecting to you a broker where you are and a broker where you're going to that can help you buy and sell your facility. So now I'm going to set up a cross-marketing facility where the person who's just the mover is now in a position to connect that client to the broker at both ends. Or maybe they have a broker at one end, but they don't have the broker at the other end. Maybe they got both brokers, but it doesn't matter because now my guy says to him, now when you get there, have you found the house yet? No. Or the answer might be yes. Okay, so the question then is, well, is it exactly the way you want it to be? Well, no, I'm probably going to do a little remodeling when I get there. Well, great, we'll hook you up with the remodeling. So you start to see where this is going, right? Now, the one thing I promise you is that if I'm the mover, I don't want to know diddly about who's a broker and where. I don't want to know diddly about who can remodel a house there. I don't want to know anything about who's going to finance their transaction. What I want to do is plug into a system that the minute I put my client in there who's contacting me for moving, there's a system that does all this, that I don't have to do it, that all I have to do is plug in. So we create this thing called strategic aggregation along with the software that automates the whole process with people who are trained to facilitate that whole process. So once information starts coming into the system, everything happens. And I'm now cross-marketing my clients. And it's done in a way where if I'm the source of a client into the system, I'm in heaven because every sale that's now made to that client through this ecosystem of service providers that we've put in place, I'm getting a share of that revenue. So now instead of having one revenue source for a client, I've got 30, 40 revenue sources that I'm sharing in.
Wow.
Okay. What's more is because there's 30 or 40 other vendors doing the same type of thing in these related fields to me, when they're getting the client, it's the broker. And the broker's now again, remember, I said we systematized all this, but if I'm the broker's side and the question is now being asked of my client, do you have your moving company yet? Okay. These other service providers now become a source of new clients for me. And yes, I'm going to share some of my revenue with them. I would have that as a marketing expense anyway. So you see what we do is we create the technology facilitated platform that allows strategic aggregation to multiply the amount of clients that all the businesses in the ecosystem have and to give them multiple revenue sources from the clients they bring into the ecosystem.
Wow.
See difference in the thinking. It's leverage.
Wow.
I'm leveraging my client through 30 or 40 different revenue sources. And I'm leveraging 30 or 40 different similar related businesses to producing clients for me.
Wow.
Okay. And when you start to think, you see that's a difference in thinking. It's a difference in thinking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, if I'm just a salesperson for a single product or service, I'm back to being me, microbe in a vast universe. It's just, 2 hands, 2 feet, 1 brain in a limited time. But once I start thinking systemically, once I start thinking about the ways to now organize this in a different and unique way, taking advantage of today's technology, I become a monster. The things that I can create. Okay. So that's the difference. And if I can convey nothing else to the folks who are enjoying, hopefully, this podcast,
Definitely.
is that it's a new world out there. Okay. And it's worth your while to pay attention to what's working today that didn't even exist 10, 15 years ago. And getting comfortable with them and learning how to leverage yourself to other people, learning how to do it in a field of your passion. Because you know what? If you're passionate about a field, you'll see things nobody else will see in that field. Let me tell you the most important thing about business, other than what I've already told you. And that is a thing called partnership. Okay. The beauty of business is you don't have to do stuff by yourself. And it's very rare that one person is gifted with all of the attributes that are required to be successful. They're usually lacking something. And if they don't cure what they're lacking in, as good as they are in everything else, they will most often fail. So it's like a bicycle chain. If you can picture the chain that drives your bicycle, right? You can have this wonderful 100 links that are all working perfectly. But if one link's broken, the doggone chain isn't going to work. Okay. You got to have all the links in your chain in order to make the bike work. So it's the same thing with business. You got to have all the pieces, but you don't have to have them, but you have to have them as part of what you're doing. So the key to being successful in business is to be able to look at what don't you have? What aren't you good at? And then find a partner who will fill that void for you. So that way you aren't stuck in this never ending cycle of trying to make your bike chain work, but you don't have all the links. And the beauty of a business is that it can be structured so there's a place for everybody. There's the communication place. I mean, you look at a big company, right? They got a communication department. They got a production department. They got a marketing department. They got a personnel department. Why? Because nobody knows how to do everything, right? So they get all the pieces and then they have to get hung together in an organizational way. And the business is structured so that everybody benefits when they all pull the chain together and make the business work. Well, that's the beauty of a business. In the old days, again, I'm going back into the more classic models now. Successful businesses used to have what was called, and women forgive me because your women aren't mentioned in this. You had your inside man and your outside man. Now, today, in today's technology, you would say you have your inside person and your outside person, right? Okay. What the inside person was, is that's the person who did the production, who made the business work administratively and production wise. The outside person was the marketing guy. He was the good communicator who couldn't produce a thing if his life depended on it. Okay. But he can get out there and sell it. Okay. So you had your outside guy who made the sales. You had your inside guy who delivered the productivity and the quality, and that's how the business worked. And if you took either one of them and took them out of the equation, the business failed. So the idea that people could come together and supplement each other was crucial. The point is, if I'm the guy who can sell, but I can't produce, then I want a partner who can produce and can't sell. Because if he can sell and produce, he doesn't need me. Right. So I want somebody who needs me because I can do what they can't do. And I want to have somebody that I can relate to who can do what I can't do. So together we can kind of walk into the sunset and make a lot of money together. So the first thing I tell people to do in business is take a good stock of yourself. What are you good at? What are you bad at? What do you like to do? What do you hate to do? What do you excel at? What do you flop on your butt every time you try it? And don't let the thing you flop on your butt for deter you from doing the thing that you want to do. Just realize you got to supplement yourself with a partner. You've got to find somebody who's your opposite. You've got to take a little time and seek out that person. The only thing you have to do is make sure your communication between you is good and that you respect each other. Now, if you can come at it in that way, you got the makings of a potentially great business.